Hello and welcome to another lovely edition of the program Teaching and Learning on Radio. Teaching and Learning on Radio is a program that comes your way every weekday on Prestige FM and some other radio stations. And it's brought to you by the Ministry of Education right here in Niger State. We have lots of subjects that we treat every week, every day of the week. We always try to see how we can give the students at home another opportunity to learn while they are home. You know, the pandemic is everywhere. The coronavirus pandemic is everywhere. And so the shutdown and the closure of schools and companies actually made the students are at home right now. Those preparing for WAEC, NECO, and other examinations, I think it's an opportunity for them to stay at home and learn while listening to radio. The teachers, the facilitators will be right here in the studio with us. They will tell us about a particular subject. They look at a subject and a topic, and the phone lines will be open for you to actually call in or probably send a message and ask your questions, and you will definitely learn something. So, well, it's for students at home, and it's brought to you by the Ministry of Education right here in Niger State. Teaching and learning on radio. Teaching and Learning on Radio it is. Well, today we have lots of things to learn, and we have our facilitator in the studio. You're welcome.
I am going to take English language, and we shall be discussing letter writing. We have different types of letters, but we are going to limit ourselves to only two, that is formal and informal letter. We are going to discuss the features of these letters. We're going to discuss the errors most of the students do make when they come to write these letters, and what is expected of them at the end of the lessons. To start with, we are going to start with formal letter. This is one of the letters that most students do find very difficult to attempt, perhaps due to its unique style in terms of organization, expressions, and the contents. Now we are going to start with the features of both letters. Okay, we're going to start with formal letter, the features of formal letter. Formal letters has about 5 to 6 features. That is, one, we have the address, we have the date, the inside address, which is the receiver's address, and we have the salutation, the title, and the body, and the subscription or complimentary clause. To start with the address, how do you write your own address as appropriate? When you come to write your own address, the address is supposed to be on the right-hand side of the paper. For instance, let us take secondary school, government secondary school's address. First, before writing your address, you need to put at the back of your mind the style you want to use in the writing your own address. For instance, you can write your address in a slanting or block form. After choosing the format you want to write your address, then you can also decide to either make your address open or close. Now, let us take, for instance, the address of government secondary school. Now, this is the address of government secondary school. If you look at the address, you discover that after the name of the school, there is a comma after the name of the school. Then PMB, another comma here. Minna, you have another comma, and the Niger State, you have full stop. Now, this is a closed address because the address had been punctuated. And if you decide not to punctuate your address, that is open address, then all this punctuation will have to go. And if you choose to not to punctuate your address, that also affects the date, which is the second feature, or the format of the letter. Now, how do you write your letter? The date first. Let us, today is 18th. Full stop. As you can see, you have 18th, then the month, April, and the year, and the full stop. Now, if you choose not to punctuate your address, that is open address, that also affects the date, despite the fact that the date is not part of the address. It only comes immediately after the address, but that affects the date too. How? For instance, you are going to remove the TH here. There will not be TH after the date, and then the month, the comma remains. You don't remove the comma, and then you remove the full stop at the end of the year. Then the third feature, which is the inside address, which is the receiver's address, you write that on the left hand of the paper, immediately on the line after the date. Now, who are you writing to? For instance, you are writing to the Honorable Commissioner, complaining of a problem in your school. Okay, then the address, you have to write the designation of the officer you are writing to. If you are writing to the commissioner, you write the commissioner. That should come first before the address of the commissioner. If you are writing to the minister, you write the minister, and then the address. For instance, you have the commissioner, comma, then the address of the commissioner, Ministry of Education, another comma, then Minna, you have another comma, and the state, Niger State. Now, this is how you should write the receiver's address with punctuations. Now, we said at the beginning that if you decide to make your address open, the writer's address open, it affects the dates and it also affects the inside address. So all the punctuations will have to go to. That is, if you choose to make your address open. The next is the salutation. The only accepted forms of salutation in formal letters are two, that is, dear sir or dear madam. You write, dear sir, comma, or you write dear madam, as the case may be. These are the only accepted forms of a salutation in the formal letter. You don't write name. And after the salutations, next comes the title. That is the topic sentence of what you are about to discuss in the body. How do you write your title? The title is purposely meant to give the reader, the receiver or the officer an insight of what the body contains. For instance, you are writing to the commissioner to complain of the poor state of facilities in your school. The heading will be poor state of you state the name of your school, Government Secondary School. Secondary School, Mina. Now, there's something you need to observe here again. You will discover that all the first letters of the keywords here have been capitalized. Now, if you choose to do that, to capitalize only the first letters of the keywords here, then you need to underline the title. You can equally, at the same time, you can choose to write or to make your title to be in the capital letters, or it is also accepted, you capitalize all the letters in the title. It is accepted. But when you choose to capitalize all of them, then there is no need for you to underline. We will come to that. We are going to discuss that later on the address, the two addresses where we are supposed to capitalize, but that will come later. And then the body. Now, post state of facilities in Government Secondary School, Mina. Now, already the reader has a hint on what the body is all about. You can decide to comment the effort of the officer, the commissioner, on the past projects, on the facilities, and the impacts that has on the students. And then you go straight to the point. In the letter here, in the body, you are expected to paragraph your points. The first, each paragraph should carry a point. Don't discuss 2 points in a paragraph. And the first paragraph should have a link with the second and the third continuously. You don't bring in anything that has nothing to do with the topic when you come to write your the body of the letter. We'll come to that also. Then the last one is the subscription or the complementary clause. How do you write that? This is the only way that is accepted for any of the exam body you can think of. That is standard. Yours faithfully, comma. This is the only thing that is accepted in the formal letter. Yours should be in capital letter, S down without apostrophe, as some of the students do, and the F should also be in the small letter, should be in small letter. Apart from Y, that should be capitalized, all the remaining letters should be in the small letters. After this, the subscription, then you sign your name. Under it, you sign your name and write your name in full. You don't abbreviate in the formal letter. If you have 3 names, put down the 3 names under that. If you have 2, no matter how long or lengthy the names are, please put them in full. Don't abbreviate. Then the second letter, which is the informal, all that is expected of us when we come to write the 2 letters, but we want to discuss the 2 first. Then when it comes to formal letter, informal letter, the features are similar, but with a bit of difference between the formal and the informal. Now, the first feature in the informal letter is the address also. You have address, you have the date, and then you have salutation. There is no inside address or the receiver's address. And then you have the body and the subscription. These are the only features. If you can see, contemplating the first one we discussed, the formal letter, you will discover that there is no inside address and there is no title on the when you come to write for informal letter. Now, the address of informal letter is the same pattern it carries with that of formal letter. You can make it open, you can make your address close, you can, and how it affected the date. If you decide to make your address open, we said if affect the dates. And what are the changes that you are supposed to observe? And we have discussed the TH in the date, and the month. You have to write the month, you don't abbreviate the month, comma, and you leave the comma, you are not going to do away with it, and the full stop after the year. The same as formal. Then the date, we said, is the same. Then salutation. This is another place we do have that is different from that of the formal letter. In the formal letter, you have only two salutations that is accepted by any of the exam body, and we have stated that before, that dear sir or dear madam. But in this case, you have to mention the name of the person you are writing the letter to. If you are writing to your father, it is accepted for you to write dear father or dear daddy. It is accepted here. But any other person beside your dad and your mom, you are expected to write, the name should come after whatever title you decide to give. The name should also be there. Dear father, it is accepted. And then dear mother, as the case may be. If you want to write to a friend, or you are expected to write a letter to your friend, please mention the name. You don't write dear friend, as most of the students do. You write his name. If it's Garba, you write. If it's Ali, you write his name. And the comma will come after that. Or you can also decide to write, apart from this, dear, it is also accepted for you to write my dear father. It is accepted. But in this case, the dear there, the D in the dear will be in small letter. You are not going to capitalize it. If you are starting with there, then you capitalize D. But you are starting with my, then dear will have to be in small letter, and then father, because this is a common name. Sorry, comma here. Dear mother, my dear sister, Aisha, or my dear Aisha, whatever you want to write, it is accepted. But you have to mention the name beside your father, mother. You are writing to a sister, it is advisable that you mention the name, a friend too, the same thing. Then coming to the body. The body, unlike that of the former, where you need to be very polite, the body of an informal letter can be chatty, and you can bring in other things that are not even relevant to discuss in the body, provided you did not do away with the topic or what is expected of you to discuss. You can bring in other items in order to make the body. Because this is a letter that you are expected to write to a relations, somebody that is very close or known to you. And then the conclusion of this letter, that is the subscription or the complementary clause. You write, these are the accepted subscription for these letters. You can write, yours sincerely, comma, or yours affectionately, comma. These are the only, is though in some materials you come across a son writing to his father, and at the end of it, writing yours son. Well, not recognized by some of the examination bodies, but this is generally accepted by all. The two subscription or complementary clause here. After this, and then you put your comma, then you come down, you don't sign in the informal letter. What is expected of you here is to write your first name only. If you have 10 names, whatever, write your first name. Don't write your surname in the informal letter. For instance, you are Aliu Al-Hassan, you only write Aliu and the full stop. That is the end of the informal letter. And then, where do we make students, most of the students do make mistakes or errors. When they come to write their address, you discover that some of the students will capitalize all their addresses. This is very wrong. You only capitalize the first letter of every word in the address, with exemption of prepositions, including when you come to write the title of the letter. The preposition should not be capitalized. Articles A and D should not be capitalized, and then the conjunctions. That is, if you decide to write in the small letter, okay? So, and also, it is very important for us to know that when we come to write our letters, the examiners do give us the number of words that are expecting us, that is expected of every student to write. For instance, when you come to write essay, you are expected to write nothing less than 450 words. How do you do that? The examiner don't have time to start counting the words one after the other. They count the first or the second and the last line, and that they multiply by the number of lines on the papers that you have written. For instance, if you have 6 words on a line, you multiply it, and then you have 75 lines, then you have 450 words, which is okay. You are not expected to write less than that, otherwise you will be penalized for that. If you have 7 words on the line, you multiply it by the number of lines. For instance, 7 times 65, you have 455. 8 words on the line, multiply by 56, you still have 450. 10 words on the line, multiplied by 45, you have 450, and so on. This is how we, the examiners calculate the number. This is very important. In case, the listener, in case there are areas you wish we touch, but because of the time allocated, we are not able to touch that, you may contact us through this WhatsApp number, 090 and 2928 2040. And again, 090 2928 2040. And now I have a question here for you to write. If there is any problem, then you contact us on the number given to you. Write a letter to a friend of yours who had been in abroad for some time and had been writing to you to join him. Write a reply to him, telling him or giving him at least 3 reasons why you will not, you will rather remain in your own country. Okay? In order to have more details on this topic that we have discussed, you can go on to go through these textbooks. They are very good textbooks, very good materials. Essential English Language for SS classes, SS3 classes, or Comprehensive English Language for SS3. These are very good materials, and they'll give you details of what is expected of you. Thank you so much.
That was a wonderful presentation by our facilitator. He taught us a whole lot, and I learned as well, so I believe you've learned something this lovely edition of the program, Teaching and Learning on Radio. Well, join us again next that's tomorrow. Join us again and for another lovely edition of the program. You never can tell the subjects coming up, so just be on the lookout. And children out there, and not just children, parents, I urge you to encourage your children to listen to the program. As they stay at home, they learn as well. All right, thank you so much for watching and listening. Bye-bye.